watching the Model Railway Files, and welcome to a brand new project and a brand new series of videos in which I will be showing you the basics of how to build a model railway, or a scene of a model railway really, because that's what this is focused on. Now, this here is the top of a shelf, and this is what the whole series of videos will be focusing on. Now, as some of you will know who've seen our previous videos, my layout is not a permanent layout, which means it has to go away for a lot of the time. So what I was thinking about the shelf, because as it's a spare shelf that doesn't look the best because of the colour mainly, I could turn it into a scene, like a main line scene, that I could display my locomotives and some coaches on. So, and that will give me opportunity to show you all the skills like track laying with cork, like this, and the track, so all the scenery, and I might even add some roading so I can show you how to do that. And so this will be quite a large series of videos about how to do all of these processes, and hopefully eventually this shelf will look a lot better than it does now, and like a proper scene from a main line of early 60s railway. So anyway, let's make a start on this. Now, as you'll be able to see by this shelf, it's quite worn and battered, and also has a lot of hooks on the bottom. Now they need to come off, because then we'll have a flat surface so we can actually work easily on the shelf itself. So these will just unscrew like this. Don't know why there's so many of them. They will probably go back in afterwards. At the other end. It's always useful to have a little tub like this where you can put all your spare bits, because then you'll never lose them if you want to keep them. Get the big one there. Little one, and last big one. Right, now that's all the hooks out, but as you'll be able to see, there are still some nails stuck in this, and that's simply where it was stuck onto the supports on the wall. They all need to come out, and as I might want to edit this sometimes, instead of putting those pins back in at the end, I'm going to be drilling these holes out and then putting screws in so I can easily take it off without having to hit it upwards. So I'll just need to find a hammer, and then we can hammer those nails out. Right, so what I've done while you've been gone is I've hammered all the nails through, as you can see here, and here on the other side. So all you need to do with these now is pull them out, and hopefully that should be relatively easy. However, sometimes that isn't the case. There we go. 1, 2. This one here was a problem because it's all on an angle. It still is being a problem. Oh, that's 3. These are quite long nails actually. There we go. That's all 4 out. Now I'll put those in that tub just to get them out of the way for now. I won't be keeping them because, as I said, we're going to be drilling this out. Right, so those holes are now all drilled. As you can see, there's holes there, and when it's finished, it'll make it a lot easier to take off on and off the wall. And so now those are done, we can move on to the main part of this video, which is laying cork as an underlay for the track, and then laying the track itself. So I'll just go and get all the materials, and then we can get on with that. Right, so the cork I've got here is 2mm thick cork, and now what I'm going to do with it is put a strip of it under each bit of track. So just to build it up a bit so it'll be look better when I put the ballast on it. And so what we need to do is measure out that thickness, which shouldn't be too hard rather. So I need to measure how wide the track is for a start. And that is 300 millimeters. That's all right then. So if I add maybe 5 millimeters onto that, that should work out rather well. If I just put that there. There we go, that's marked out. And now we can probably cut it out. With this stuff it's relatively easy because it's quite thin. See, it just comes up like that. And there we go, that's one of the strips. Now if like this one you've got some rough edges, you just need to cut those off. As you can see, this one does get slightly wider. And there's a bit of a notch at the end. That can come off. Like that. Yeah, that's a bit better. Now test it with the track. Yeah, that works out rather well. Obviously this bit isn't long enough at the moment, but it should be when I get another piece. So yes, that's it there. Might just cut a little bit off this actually. There we go. That makes it look more even. There we go, that's a lot better. So now that can actually go on the shelf. Now my plan is with the shelf, this is the front edge here, and so I want the track to be at the front of the shelf because obviously I want to see the locos. So this strip here will go right, I think this strip here will go right at the edge here. I can add a bit on the end in a bit, like that. The second strip will be harder to put on because I'll have to measure the track distance with a track gauge like this one here, which is a Peco one that I got for 25p I think, really cheap. And if you want a track straightening gauge, track setter, do them. And this one was probably around a £5. They were both bought from Track Shack, which is a really good company. It does really cheap stuff like that. So anyway, for this, I've got some PVA glue. Just need to get the lid off and prepare it. So I'll just pause while I do that. Right, now so I've got the glue ready. Now for putting it on cork, you probably want a spreader. For this I've just got a bit of wood. You can have anything really, as long as it spreads it well. This is probably just about the right width. So you don't want to use too much glue because otherwise it'll leak around the side. What I'm using for this is Evo Stick Wood Adhesive, which is also quite good for cork. Well, as cork is technically wood. There we go. I'll spread that bit out first. Lay the other end down to keep it from rolling up. It spreads quite well, this stuff. Well, that's one bit done. There we go. Move it along so you can see it. There we go, that's the last bit. You just spread it out. And there we go, that's ready to be stuck down. Just get it all off my hands. Right, so all I need to do now is flip it over. They're all in one piece. There we go. You just flatten it down to make sure it's not rising up. Doesn't matter if you get glue on this side, because it'll at some point have glue on it anyway. Just cut this edge off. There we go, done. And there we go, that's one block done. And so on that, this track will go eventually. But before we do that, we need to measure out where the next piece will go. Right, so as you can see, that cork is now done, which means that the next stage will be to put the track on. And we will have to wait for that a bit though. Well, I will. It'll be a few seconds for you. And you'll see at the back here, there is a lot of blank green space. Now that will become more green space, except in the form of an embankment that I will be building in another video. So, and that'll be all built up nice. And I'm thinking about here, maybe, I'll be having a road bridge of some sort. Half a road bridge probably, because of where the track is. And and I'll have some vehicles on there, maybe some street lights as well. Further along the shelf that way, I might have a working dapple signal as well, the ones that have lights in, because I think that'll make it look all the more realistic. So I just need to wait for this to dry, and then we can put the track on. Then in another video probably I'll be ballasting the track. Hello and welcome back. It's now been 24 hours, which means that the glue on these has now completely dried. And as it is dried, I've also cut away any rough edges so that now they're pretty much straight. And so now they're all glued and neatened up, it's time to start the main task of actually installing the track onto the board itself. Now to do this, I've got Peco Streamline Code 100 track, which is fairly cheap, from Track Shack, very good company there. And I've also got in here some of the Peco Track Nails, which as some of you may know, are very tiny and are often very hard to actually put into a board. So you usually have to pre-drill a small hole through the sleeper of the track, as they don't have holes, unlike Hornby. And so to do this, I have a little drill here, a hand twisting one, with some 0.8mm drill bit heads, which are nearly the same size as the nails themselves. There you go. So that will hopefully mean that they don't bend when I try to put them in. Now, to decide where to put the nails and to straighten the track out to make sure it's not bent at all, I have this track setter here, which is made by the company Track Setter, and it just straightens the track out. You go along like this, but it also has holes in the middle bits and at the ends to show you where you can put the nails to make sure it's fully secure. So I'll just get everything ready and then we can start nailing this track down. Right, so everything's now ready. I've got the drill with the drill bits securely in. I have all the nails, and I also have a very small nosed hammer, and so you can get in between the track really. And I've just done a trial run, which is here. You probably can't see it, but it's definitely there. And it seems to work very well with the method I'm using. So what I need to do now to start off is drill the rest of the holes. I will fast forward this though, because it is going to take a while and I will only show a few. Because otherwise this video will end up being half an hour long and I don't want that. So let's get on with it. Right, so those first few holes are now drilled. The one in the middle has already been nailed, of course. So now, what we need to do is nail the 4 that haven't been nailed yet. Which you have to be very careful doing, because these nails, as they are so small, bend very easily. But luckily the fact that we've pre-drilled the hole, that should prevent them bending. Go. So what I need to do now is remove the track setter and secure them further down. Right, so you have to be even more careful at this bit, because as you can't see the nails that much, there's one there, one there, one there, one there, it's easier to bend them, and when you bend them last minute here, it's really hard to get them out, so you have to be very careful. What's good about these nails though is, as they're so small, they're not very visible. So when it's all covered in scenery and everything, these will be virtually invisible. So whilst it's difficult putting them in, it's well worth it in the end. There we go, that's 2 in. Three, and the last one at the end. There we go. So that is how you nail down Peco Flexitrack using Peco nails. You see that's now not moving at all. So that is brilliant. Now I'm not going to show you the rest because it's basically the same thing over and over again. And so in the next video you'll see it with both of these pieces of track laid down on this track like this end is. But anyway, as this is quite a long video, this brings it to the end. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it and you've taken in some advice from this video. In the next video we will have both tracks down, as I just said. We'll have the ends clipped off, that's too long, and we will also be using this. to ballast the track and everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So see you soon. Goodbye.